Good evening and welcome to the evening news. I am Olubomi Ajiboye Agbola. The chairman of the Finance Commissioners Forum, David Olofo, said the Federation Accounts and Allocation Committee meeting, initially scheduled for last week, will hold today and tomorrow. Similarly, the Delta State Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Fidelis Tilije, also corroborated the postponement in an interview with journalists. Olofo added that the delay in holding the FAC meeting had affected the activities of many states, including payment of salaries and capital expenditures. FAC is headed by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ajia Zainab Ahmed, and whose members include State Commissioners of Finance, State Accountant General of the Federation, and the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Finance meet every month to share revenues among the federal, states, and local governments. The postponement of the meeting, which the ministry said was due to certain circumstances, came a few days after the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission arrested the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, over an alleged 80 billion naira fraud. The Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Simbi Wabote, has stated that about 400,000 barrels per day is expected from the rehabilitation of the NNPC refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna, using target performance of not less than 90% of nameplate capacity. Wabote at the Nigerian Continent Midstream Downstream Oil and Gas Summit in Lagos also explained that the refinery roadmap of the present administration, which includes 4 focus areas, such as the rehabilitation of the existing 4 national refineries, co-location of new refineries. Others are construction of greenfield refineries and construction of modular refineries, is expected to boost the nation's combined refining capacities of more than 1.4 million barrels per day in the next 5 years. The Executive Secretary said the theme of the summit tacked towards maximizing potentials in the mainstream and downstream oil and gas sector. A local context perspective is based on its 10-year strategic roadmap to achieve 70% Nigerian content target in the oil and gas industry by the year 2027. Osun State is recording tremendous pace of transformational developments and various welfare packages for the citizenry under the administration of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola that would qualify the incumbent's victory at the forthcoming gubernatorial poll. The parliamentarian representing Osogbo Federal Constituency, Honorable Bukola Oyewo, who gave the insight in an interview with OSBC News, noted that the governor has touched the nooks and crannies of the state with laudable developments that cannot be challenged by any opposition in the state. In another development, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Osun State Council, has condemned the alleged attack on its members by hoodlums during the All Progressives Congress campaign in Gbogan, Ayedade local government area of the state. A statement by the chairman of the union, Comrade Wasiu Ajadosho, and Secretary, Comrade Bukola Elufadejin, described the attack on members of the correspondent chapel of the union as unfortunate, uncivilized, and unwarranted, adding that the union will no longer condone such unprovoked attack on its members in the state. The statement therefore urged political parties in the state to urgently sanitize the comportment of their supporters in order to get rid of any form of hooliganism and political thuggery, as it threatens the union would stop its members from covering political parties if their safety cannot be guaranteed. It called on Osun State Police Command to fish out the perpetrators of the dastardly act and bring them to justice to serve as deterrent to others with such violent tendencies. It further warned criminal elements to desist from working against the success of the forthcoming election in the state so as not to discourage harmless electorate from performing their civic responsibilities. Similarly, the state chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Prince Adegboyega Famodu, has commiserated with the state's correspondence chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists over the attack of their members by suspected thugs from the opposition party shortly after Governor Adegboyega Oyetola and his entourage left the campaign venue at Gbogon in Ayedade local government council area of Osun State. According to him, many vehicles belonging to the APC members, including the correspondence chapel's bus, were smashed by the suspected political thugs. The injured newsmen have been taken to a hospital for treatment. Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrasheed Bawa, has expressed concern about corruption cases being lost to technicalities at various courts nationwide. The EFCC chair made the submission in Abuja while giving his opening remarks at a 3-day capacity building workshop with the theme, Judicial Dynamism, a key factor in the fight against economic and financial crimes organized for judicial officers, investigators, and prosecutors. He maintained that the development might serve as a disincentive to the fight against economic and financial crimes. He submitted that graft cases being lost on technical grounds have a way of building confidence in corrupt elements and negatively affecting the cherished image of the judiciary. Reviewing impact of the anti-graft in the fight against economic and financial crimes in its 19 years of existence, Mr. Bawa stressed that the commission had carved a niche for itself with numerous milestones as the gains of the fight against corruption are not reversed. World Health Organization said the current outbreak of monkeypox is evolving, even as it expects more cases to be identified as surveillance expands in non-endemic countries. It, however, said it does not have evidence that the virus has mutated. A senior executive at the United Nations Agency, Rosamond Lewis, said the infectious disease that is endemic in West and Central Africa has tended not to change. She told a briefing that mutations are typically lower with the virus, adding that the reported cases thus far have no established travel links to Nigeria and other endemic areas. It was reported that the disease kills 41 million people each year, equivalent to 71% of all deaths globally. The global health body therefore warned of increasing burden of non-communicable diseases, urging Nigerians to engage in physical exercises to reduce the chances of contracting them. Meanwhile, the federal government has taken steps to address the monkeypox outbreak and other diseases transferable from animals to humans with the distribution of laboratory diagnostic and vaccination equipment, cold chain facilities, and sample collection items to states of the Federation, addressing key stakeholders in the livestock subsector. During the distribution ceremony in Abuja, Minister for Agriculture and Rural Development Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar said animal health management is a critical component of the national plan for transformation of the livestock subsector in the country. The minister expressed hope that the gesture would go a long way to support states and veterinary teaching hospitals in providing quality animal health care services, prevention and control, as well as timely diagnosis of diseases, especially the transboundary animal and zoonotic types. And moving on to sport, the federal government has named Dr. Henry Onya Ezeku as head of a 10-man interim management committee to oversee the development of Nigerian basketball. The federal government, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, has announced the members of the Interim Management Committee to oversee the development of the sport in Nigeria. A statement by the Federal Ministry of Sports, signed by Director of Press and Public Relations, Manga Mohammed, said following the recent directives of President Muhammadu Buhari on the state of basketball in the country and its withdrawal from all international basketball competitions for the next 2 years. It will be recalled that the government recently withdrew the country from international engagements for 2 years following the leadership crisis that has dogged the Nigeria Basketball Federation for more than 6 years. While on the foreign scene, Senegalese President Macky Sall said he is traveling to Russia and Ukraine soon on behalf of the African Union, whose presidency he currently holds. At a joint press conference with visiting German Chancellor Olaf Scholz on Sunday, Sall said that the trip had been due to take place on May 18, that it did not go ahead due to scheduling issues, and that new dates have been put forward. He added that he had received a mandate from the African Union to undertake the trip, for which Russia had extended an invitation. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which has hit African economies hard due to rising cereal prices and fuel shortages, has met with a divided African response. Report says Senegal abstained from voting on a United Nations resolution overwhelmingly adopted that called on Russia to withdraw from Ukraine. It added that a few weeks later, it voted in favor of another resolution demanding Russia out the war. And that ends the evening news on OSBC TV. Join us at 7 for the major reports. Good evening.